Did it work?
We
It says
are
we're
live.
live. Awesome. Welcome to the episode 2 of Bite Size Podcast. Glad to have you here.
I'm James.
And I'm Zach. So, today we're going to be talking about Albert and Ernest and Susan and Joe.
Albert, Ernest, Susan, and Joe are all some names within the topics we'll be talking about today. The topics are bite-sized, hence the name Bite Size Podcast. I've had a few people ask me that, so I thought maybe I should let people know.
Right. It's like either bite-sized topics in a big way or like big topics in a bite-sized way.
Yeah.
So, one of the things we started with last time was a quote, and I thought maybe we could do that again. First, I wanted to talk about Albert Einstein. Now, he has a lot of great quotes, so last time we only did one quote, but we're going to do 3 this time. So I'll read the first one. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Now, that's pretty deep.
These 3 quotes kind of all go hand in hand, so I think maybe we should talk about them. And
all
then
together?
Read all
Okay.
3 of them, and then we'll discuss them all together and how they correlate together, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so it's great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds.
The next one is, not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted.
Dang, it's deep too. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Man, especially together, these are crazy deep.
Yeah. And the correlation part, I think what they're all saying is, it all comes back to criticism, I believe. Bringing someone down, basically. Like judging a fish by its ability to climb a tree.
Right.
Or violent opposition from mediocre minds in the first one.
And things that count that you can't physically count because they're just not physical things, you know?
Exactly.
Plus,
Einstein, it's a great man. Great thing, but people were always opposing him.
Exactly.
Whether it be scientists or
well, I feel like he's kind of being a straight up gangsta right here, because his first one, great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. It's like that video where everyone's like, oh, like mediocre minds coming from Albert Einstein. That's like, yeah, well, I'm smarter than all of you, so screw off. Like that makes Albert Einstein a real
He's
G.
basically saying, like, his critics are mediocre and it doesn't matter what they think.
Right, so who cares what they think, because they're
knows
mediocre
he's
and I'm a
top shit.
genius. I'm the smartest man alive.
But I do believe you have a story about Einstein's 70th birthday.
Yeah.
And how someone opposed him in a way.
Right. Speaking of Albert Einstein, he had his 70th birthday, and after spending 70 years of his life studying relativity and things like that, his best friend gave him a bunch of sheets of math that basically made him rethink everything that he's studied for his entire life. So this guy basically ruined Einstein's life. He spent until the day he died trying to figure out how the math lined up with what he did and thinking he was wrong. And they're still not sure if he was right today, but that kind of sucks to get your life ruined on your 70th birthday.
By your own best friend.
Right, yeah, I wonder if they were still friends after that. My research didn't tell me, but man, I don't know if I could be friends with you if on my 70th birthday you were like, yeah, so you know everything you've loved for your entire life? You were wrong about all of it. Here's proof.
Here's proof.
Like, study that over. Take your time.
Remember that book you
Happy
wrote?
birthday, bro.
Remember that book you wrote? Yeah, somebody else wrote it first.
Exactly. Man.
So all that money you made now has to go into copyright infringement. So
Which is
that
funny because
sucks.
Einstein was a copyright. He worked at a copyright office before he started getting into science.
You know more about Einstein than most people, I believe.
Yeah,
Have you done research on Einstein?
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
I mean, I
randomly,
was
or-
into some scientific topics. Like I took Mr. Bodner's. Oh, shoot, we shouldn't use names, but um,
A
his
teacher at the
Adams
Cal.
class.
Yeah.
Yeah, a science teacher, and he really
One of the coolest science teachers.
taught deep science topics like string theory and black holes, studying deep into them, and Albert Einstein and Schrodinger. We learned all about Schrodinger's cat. Like, I'll tell you one thing: that class was really interesting some days and really boring other days. But I understand Big Bang Theory like 10 times as much now.
Yeah, Mr. Bodner could definitely play on that show, I believe. Or
Oh yeah,
that science teacher.
a lot of people said
Keep
that he
dropping
reminded
his
them
name.
of Sheldon.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, I can see it. But on to the next topic, I believe.
Yeah, well, the next topic is not even necessarily a topic because it's like,
It's a topic that changes.
right, it's constantly changing. We made a list of some things we could talk about sometime in between now and the last podcast, and in the news that one day there was how Trump came to enforce a policy of separating migrant families. So all the families are getting split off from their parents. That's messed up. Um, an inmate shot and killed 2 Kansas deputies escorting him to court. 2 people died, who were cops. Afghanistan had a deadly bombing. I don't know how many people died, but taxi plowed into Moscow crowd, including soccer fans, injuring 8 people.
And if you look at these, that
17 killed.
it's a
in
screenshot,
stampede.
but this says 40 minutes ago. You can't see it, and the one above it says 35 minutes ago. So
3 hours
17
ago.
people killed in the stampede after brawl at crowded Caracas club. 5 minutes later, a taxi plows into a crowd in Moscow.
Right?
5
A
minutes.
few hours before that, Afghanistan had a bombing. 2 hours before that, 2 Kansas deputies were
So
killed.
these 5 things we just talked about happened within maybe a 12-hour
Within like a 4 hour.
12-hour span.
Within like
To say the
4
least.
hours, a ton of newsworthy things happened and people died. This world is crazy. How can this
Yeah,
happen
that's what it all comes
in a
back to.
4 hour period?
And that's all the media wants to show nowadays is
Right.
bad stuff mostly. Because nobody else wants to watch other things. If they did, they wouldn't be watching the news. Which is
True
bad.
that. Yeah.
The news should be pointing out good things that people are doing.
I should
Like,
tell you
there's
about everything.
plenty of companies and stuff out there that are doing great things for the environment. Or doing great things for the homeless. Or doing great things for immigrants. You know what I'm saying? But no, they have to go and highlight all the bad stuff
Exactly.
to make us angry in a way, I feel. I don't know.
It does a good job at it. I mean, they kind of get you to listen and believe whatever they want.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a conspiracy theory. But there's also conspiracy theories about like the government controlling all the race wars with the media and I mean just the things that they can distract you with by using the news.
Right.
Trump has a ability to do anything and then basically say, "I'm creating a military in space," and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, he's creating a military in space," and he's over here being like, "Yeah, so get that wall up real quick. They're not paying attention to it." Like, I feel like there's so much distraction, and I mean, they can use the race war to get us focused on that specifically instead of some of the other things they got going on, and it all comes down to all the negativity and everything that's going on in the media and people going crazy, the world losing its mind and people killing each other and school shootings and
people in Moscow killing stray animals on the street to get ready for the World Cup. That one
Yeah.
blew my mind. Like, it popped up
stray
on my
dogs.
phone as I was going through Instagram or something, and I don't know. I just had to stop and look at it. Like, did that really
Yeah.
just say what I think it said?
Well, and then did you hear in Auburn there was a church and they had a sign out that said being LGBTQ is a sin against God, repent.
Auburn, as in the city where we met. Auburn.
Yeah.
Wow.
And somebody saw that. It was up for several days or at least several hours, But I guess some random person went up and took half the letters and made it say "Stay open-minded" instead.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but a lot of people were really mad that church put that out, and that like the news was going door to door asking people if they had comments about it, and a lot of people on Facebook were saying that they wanted to go up and change it themselves. And it's kind of cool that somebody did. I hope they don't get in trouble for that, but technically they could get in trouble because it's freedom of speech for the church to say that, but that's still kind of messed up just to put on a major road. It was right by the skating station.
Right. What church was it?
I'm not sure, but I know a lot of people drive by there.
Wow.
And a lot of people were upset.
Yeah. That's outrageous. No, I did not hear about that, but that's pretty crazy.
Right.
What should we go into next?
Well, I want to talk about something a little bit lighter. You know cows?
Cows?
Yeah, like moo cows.
Like, cows.
Exactly. Now you're getting it.
Okay.
Do you think you've ever drank from milk from the same cow twice?
Like different gallons, but it was the same cow.
Yeah, right. Or even
I think it's possible. Definitely.
Do you think there's so many cows mixed into the milk that even drinking from 1 gallon, you drink from the same cow twice? Or do you think you get like a tiny bit from this cow, tiny bit from this cow? Do you think that it's some of the milk from...
I mean, it's all mixed together, I believe, so... It could be more than one batch from different cows. Like, yeah, maybe some of that milk was gathered at 2 o'clock, but some of it was gathered at 4
That's
o'clock.
True. Yeah.
But as far as it goes, it's just, I believe it's just a big mix of all the cows in one big vat, and then they separate.
Probably, yeah, because I know they got to heat it up.
Definitely.
They like... warm milk makes it go bad, and yet they pasteurize it and make it hot to make it drinkable.
But
it's a little weird.
They're professionals, so they know how to do it without making it go bad.
It definitely tastes different from like straight cow's milk. Have you ever had straight from the tit of a cow milk?
No, I have not. Have you?
I have not either, but I've heard it's really creamy and it tastes a lot different from store-bought milk. Because they do all that pasteurization and everything.
While we're on the topic of food, you and I went into about an hour and a half of research on why and how Sloppy Joes are Sloppy Joes.
Man, Sloppy Joes was an interesting topic because we thought it was going to be like one joke, and then it turned into actually stuff we can talk about because... I don't know about you.
Sloppy Joes have a very large history.
An interesting history. And I never thought about it before this. Did you?
I never thought about the history of Sloppy Joes.
Yeah, not even did I say, where did the name come from?
And this all came
from,
was
just kinda...
why are Sloppy Joes sloppy? Like, why can't they be clean Joes? Or...
Yeah, and why Joe?
And maybe he's just sloppy because he can't clean himself.
Yeah,
and that got us
maybe Joe's disabled.
Lazy Susans and Ernest Hemingway, which is all the names we put in the title. If you haven't caught on so far, we've talked about Einstein. Joe is obviously Sloppy Joe's at this point, and then Ernest Hemingway comes in within the Sloppy Joe thing. So,
right.
And then after that, the last topic is a big one that my mom actually brought up.
Right. So
all about Lazy Susans, hence Susan. So
yeah,
there you go. That's how the title came to be.
Susan and Joe. But
back to Sloppy Joes.
Sloppy Joes, it turns out, started in 1930s. There was a bar in Cuba. In Cuba?
Yeah. It was
in Cuba. I didn't even remember that.
In the 1930s, there was a bar in Cuba who had an owner named Jose. But they called him Joe. And Jose was not a clean person. Jose? Yeah, I guess Jose. But Jose was not a clean person, so they called him Sloppy Joe. He didn't exactly serve the Sloppy Joe sandwich. It was just, how do I put this? A twist on a dish called ropa vieja, which is shredded beef and tomato sauce, but he did his own thing with it. and they called that sandwich a sloppy Joe. But at the same time, in the 1930s, you found something else.
Yeah. Wait, in the 1930s?
Yeah.
Was that? Oh, there was also a cook named Joe in New Jersey who may have simultaneously came up with sloppy joes.
Because he did a dish similar. It was
Yeah,
beef and tomato sauce.
that's another interesting thing. It seems like a lot of people can have similar ideas around the same time.
Yeah.
You ever notice like bugs?
And ants came out around the same, like Bugs Life and
Bugs
ants
Life and Ants. Yeah.
came out around the same time. And then, but what were you talking about? Bugs.
Bugs Life. That's what I was
Okay.
about to say. Yeah, they came out around the same time, and then there was. Man, I can't remember any other examples off the top of my head, but a lot of things happen like that, where one thing comes out and then another thing comes out that's really similar, and it just happens that two people had similar ideas.
What if my mom's wondering what would happen if she popped her head in that door over here, right here, and just started making faces behind us? I believe we will just hold the door closed. She'll do it. She will. But anyways, back to Sloppy Joe's.
So yeah, it's like at one point they also said that all fast food workers were known as sloppy joes. It was just like a term that they said, yeah, go ask the sloppy joes or something. Or if they messed up your order, you can be like, ah, those dang sloppy joes. I don't know, but
And this is also where Ernest Hemingway comes in.
exactly, because Ernest Hemingway, he convinced the chef to name his bar and his favorite meal
His
the Sloppy
favorite
Joe.
bar and his favorite meal. He convinced the owner of that bar to change the name of the bar to Sloppy Joe, and the name of the sandwich to Sloppy Joe.
Yeah, that Ernest Hemingway.
was that into the Sloppy Joe. And then in the 1960s is when people started catching on and making package deals like Manwich and, etc.
Right, but it still took like almost 30 years for Sloppy Joes to actually be a real thing. That,
Like their own sandwich.
right.
Their own.
It wasn't just a restaurant
Pers-
calling something a Sloppy Joe.
Yeah,
You could actually
exactly.
go and buy one and make one yourself. It was kind of
And
nationally
Ernest
known.
Hemingway was that into.
Right, why
that
didn't he have them,
sandwich
instead
that
of
he
Sloppy
named
Joes,
it.
be made called Sloppy Hemingways?
Or
Sloppy Ernests.
Yeah.
That,
You never know.
that sounds a little weird, though. But, if Ernest is sloppy, then you can't really blame
But yeah,
him for
we
that.
went into an hour and a half of research on why Sloppy Joes are called Sloppy Joes, and we still didn't figure it out. But we figured out a lot of other interesting stuff about
Yeah,
Sloppy Joe.
not definitively. There is 3 reasons there, though. So, the world may never know. Another thing the world may never know.
Which kind of goes on with the joke of the Sloppy Joe. Why is the Sloppy Joe called the Sloppy Joe? Is why is the Lazy Susan called the Lazy Susan?
Right. And is Susan lazy? Or is she just disabled?
Who knows? Because the internet did not tell us that either.
Exactly.
We went into some pretty intense research on this topic as well.
Well, apparently, the Lazy Susan's, why it's actually called that, is lost to history.
Lost to history.
Is what they said. Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody really knows where it came from.
Yeah. And there's not even 3
it
really
came.
good theories like the last one. Nobody really just knows. So, but the fact of the matter is, it makes no sense. So why anybody would call it that in the first place is beyond me. Because Susan's anything but lazy.
Yeah. You have... And the Lazy Susan isn't just like the corner cabinet. You open it, you can turn it, and see what boxes of food you have.
Right.
The Lazy Susan refers to a whole list of things, which I also have written down. Turntables. As
Like
in,
on a record player?
Yeah, as in like... No, I think turntables is in like just one you would put on your table. You
Okay.
would put food on, and then you could turn it so that...
Well, record
people-
players is one too.
Record players is down the list, though.
Yeah. Most people don't
Uh,
even think about that as Lazy Susan, but it technically isn't.
Yeah,
It
a lot of
evolves and-
these things nobody thought would be...
Yeah, you
thought
don't
of
even
as a
think
Lazy
about it,
Susan.
but you see them every day.
Like, you got a spice rack. Never thought of that as a Lazy Susan, even though you have
Right.
the ones that turn and, I don't know. TV stands. like the swivel ones. Those are technically lazy Susans. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like the ones you can put on your wall. You can move them off your wall. Anything that helps you utilize space that otherwise couldn't be used.
Right. You know what I thought?
Referred to as a lazy.
I just thought of another one that's not even on this list. When you go to like a grocery store and they've got the displays that you turn to look at everything all around
like
it.
the sunglasses ones.
Yeah, those are all lazy Susans too, and you don't even think about that. So how can lazy Susan do all these things and still be lazy? It sounds like she's incredibly unlazy.
I think since there's no history behind the lazy Susan, we should just go on Wikipedia and make our own history of why it's called the lazy Susan.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right.
Let's create a page on Wikipedia for unlazy Susan. Or, do you ever read that book Frindle? Or you know what I'm talking about?
Should we start a GoFundMe for changing the name of the lazy Susan?
Yeah. Let's do it.
No. I don't think so.
There was a book called Frindle, and basically this kid in class got his entire class to start calling a pencil a Frindle. And his teacher got so pissed off. She was like, "It's called a pencil. You call it a pencil." And he's like, oh, are you talking about my Frindle here? And when it ended up like catching on, and the whole world started calling it a Frindle. The dictionary added Frindle as a pencil, and then he went to his teacher's house or something, and
he was like,
gotcha. Yeah, it's called a Frindle. It's been a long time since I've read it, but it was a really interesting book because after that I always wanted to like change the name of something, you know, and if anything deserves it even more so than a pencil, I'd say it's lazy Susan's when she's this unlazy.
Keep talking.
So there's also like dumbwaiters,
pottery wheels. I never thought of as the lazy Susan before.
Right.
What else do we have on here? Record players, a Scrabble swivel, which is actually pretty cool. It's like, I don't know, a lazy Susan that you would put a Scrabble board on top of so you can turn it and place your words.
Oh, hi, DG. Okay. Let's read some comments here. The Bible also says to follow Jesus, not Christians. True that. I think she's talking about drank milk from the same cow twice.
I think she was talking about drinking milk straight from the cow.
Yeah, that's true.
Milk from the gallon.
That is probably what she was talking about.
She also asked, "What if I pop my head in the door?"
We did talk about this one, yeah. His mom was commenting.
Disabled, or Susan was disabled with an exclamation mark.
And then
change my name from mom. Kim, sorry. Kim is messaging or commenting all of these things.
Yeah.
A woman we have no idea.
How is it going, Kim? What's the podcast about? Hi, DG. Today's podcast we're talking about Albert Einstein, Ernest Hemingway, Sloppy Joes, and Lazy Susans. We kind of talked about all that already. But
to be honest, we're running out of topics, DG. So, if you would like to give us something to talk about, please do so.
Well, we can talk about anything, but the podcast in general is talking about bite-sized topics in big ways, or big topics in bite-sized ways. The first one, we had talked about kind of how we met each other and some stories and things like that.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that's on, what, YouTube? I'm not sure what podcast groups you're putting this
It's going to be on Spotify, iTunes, you know, all the major ones, SoundCloud. How about tech? We can definitely talk about tech.
We could talk about how old our tech is and how we need new stuff.
Well, do you prefer Android or do you prefer on HGTV? Are you talking about like the TV network that sells houses and stuff? I mean, IGTV, Instagram TV. What do you think about that, man?
Instagram TV.
That makes a lot more sense. I was gonna say we can talk about like Property Brothers if that's what you're trying to get us to talk about, but no. So
Zach is actually thinking about doing Instagram TV.
I posted a video on Instagram TV about me, or about the Plain White Tees. It was the start of Hey There, Delilah. That was about a minute of the song or so. And then I posted a 3-minute video, kind of just being inspirational. I was thinking about making like a little 2-3 minute video every day on there, seeing how that goes. I figure it's worth a try. What do you think about Instagram TV? Have you seen it at all or anything?
I haven't
You heard much about it?
Anyone use it? The only thing I've heard about Instagram TV is what you've told me so far.
Okay.
I think I might try to start doing a vlog on Instagram TV, just because YouTube's not my favorite platform, and I am on Instagram quite a lot.
I haven't seen the new Jurassic World movie.
I have not either. I want to.
Yeah, it looks
just
pretty
because
good.
Christopher Pratt's in it. I'm not a huge Jurassic Park fan or a huge dinosaur fan, but Chris Pratt.
I like dinosaurs.
He's definitely a great actor.
Yeah, especially in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's a really good movie. And
yeah, or even Infinity War.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loved Chris Pratt in Infinity War.
Yeah, he was the greatest person in that whole movie. He really saved the day.
I think he did.
He's the real MVP of that whole movie.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Star-Lord.
Sorry, spoilers for Infinity War if you haven't
we didn't really
seen
spoil
that
anything. We're just lying. Chris Pratt, Star-Lord.
The worst movie yet.
Was not good.
He probably should have lost his role in the new Jurassic Park movie because he was so bad in
because he was so bad in Infinity War.
Yeah, they're like,
hence he should not
we
be
can't
in
have you
Jurassic
anymore.
Park. Jurassic World, my bad.
Yeah, but I guess at the same time, a lot of the actors shouldn't be in other movies now.
So. But what do you think of Instagram TV? Is it easy to use, or?
Yeah, I mean, you can't go live, which is kind of annoying. You can't search for things, so that's kind of annoying. Like, I want to be able to go on Instagram TV and type in whatever your channel name is and be able to pull you up.
Gotcha.
But I don't think there's any search for it at all.
You have to go to
there's a couple
individual channel.
Yeah. If you go to individual creators, then you can look at all their stuff. But yeah, I like YouTube because you can go and type in how to fix a car, and there's things about that.
All right.
You can go to Instagram and just scroll through videos all day until you try and find one, which there might not even be. So I don't know if it'll get as big. I think they might be trying to too claustrophobic. Yeah, it really is.
Claustrophobic in what way?
Like it's got like a fuzz screen when the TV stops working a little bit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the bottom is, here you go. See? So, here's the Hey There Delilah one. But it's all vertical video.
So you can't go sideways.
Yeah, the UI feels cramped. Like, the whole video is there. And then this is all you can do. I guess you can search, but it's very limited.
Yeah.
You can do who you're following, popular people, continue watching, but you know what I mean? It's kind of all cramped in there. Yeah. There's not like a full page menu that you can go to like YouTube and scroll through, find a video you actually want. It's kind of just all just shoved in your face. And the vertical video is kind of limiting, yeah. More people don't want this much of their body in the video. They'd rather have this much of their body as they get everything around them.
Right, exactly.
And I don't think the average person who's watching a video minds turning it sideways.
So it is constantly like this. If you're wondering what we're talking about. You cannot go like this at all.
Yeah.
On Instagram TV.
If it's sideways, then you just gotta turn your head or something, because the video is all straight up and down. Whereas YouTube, you can do it either way. If you really want to post a video that's up and down on YouTube, if you push the full screen button, it'll take up the full screen up and down instead of sideways.
Exactly.
So
I can see now what you mean by cramped. I have not used it yet.
um, so DG, how are you doing? Have you watched videos here before? I don't recognize your name. Um, Sorry if you haven't. I just forgot. Um, but this mic
Is a heel.
a Healy, or a Heel, yeah, or Heil. Okay, it's a Heil PR40. It's supposed to be one of the best podcast mics you can use. Currently, the audio is just on my phone, but if you get the audio only podcast, you'll be able to hear the mic we're using. It's all just recording to my computer over here.
But since you're watching you live on YouTube, it is just Zachary's iPhone microphone.
Yeah, so hopefully it sounds okay. Let us know if it needs any adjustments. The actual audio version is going to sound just a little bit better.
And for those people listening to the podcast, we are also doing this on YouTube and YouTube Live, which is where we're reading these comments from.
Yeah.
Did you get iOS 12 for your iPhone?
I do. I was really wanting to get WatchOS 5, because it seems a little better. But iOS 12, there's nothing really different.
I'm not sure if I got it.
I mean, you wouldn't even know if you did because it all is pretty much the same, you know? I'll see if you got it, but let's see, general software update.
Probably
No.
not. I got 11.4.
Yeah.
I should
So
probably do that later.
you don't have to. Like I said, it's pretty much the same. Oh yeah, I do use the betas though, but it's not much different. Have you gotten it, DG? I'm curious to do with me, but I really don't think it's any better, much different at all. You never answered my question from earlier though, James. Do you like Android or do you like iPhone better? Because you were using this iPhone 6, and then you recently switched. Yeah, what phone are you using now?
Galaxy S7. So I'm
iPhone
using both
5?
of them. I prefer the iPhone.
The 6 over the iPhone 5.
I prefer the iPhone for music things, but
why is that?
as far as customization goes on the Samsungs,
it's unbeatable. If you're into customizing it, then Android is the only way to go because iPhones are so locked. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
That's
unless you jailbreak it, and then that takes up a lot of memory, and then sometimes it doesn't work, or sometimes copyright will catch up with it.
Yeah.
And then you're screwed from there. But whereas some Samsung, literally everybody's making a customization app now. So.
Right, and you can pretty much do anything you want to it. But
as far as music goes, I do prefer the iPhone.
Yeah, I think iPhones.
The speaker on my
a little more streamlined. The speaker's
better.
Probably better.
I like using Rock Band a lot.
That there isn't a phone that gets it all right.
In what way would you say that they don't get it all right?
Yeah, I think they
because iPhones
the Samsungs
flaws as well.
can get it all right. It's mostly a software thing. If you're talking about software not being able to get it right, then I can agree with you if you're talking about Google has good software but bad hardware. And Apple has pretty good both, but the software, if you're into customization, just is not good at all. I'm sorry if you're listening to this. Let me... so he said the iPhone 5 speed is a lot slower than the iPhone 6. I don't know if you used the iPhone 5 or not. But I agree with that. I actually had a 5C, and I used that. and it was a lot slower because I was using a 6 at that time too. I think that Samsung can get it all right. Samsung does a good job with basically doing everything iPhone does, but allowing customization. And yeah, it's
And
Android.
I think iPhones
but
are
if you're
a lot
into
more
that,
brittle than Samsungs are.
I could see that. You drop an iPhone, a lot of times it'll shatter.
Case or not.
Yeah, you drop an Android. Depends on how you drop it and stuff, but
Well, most of the new
overall,
ones are
it
made
seems
with
like
the Gorilla Glass.
yeah. Well, so are the new iPhones, but it
Yeah, if you can afford the new iPhones.
right. Well, you get the new iPhones, you get a notch. What do you think about that? Like the whole screen takes up the whole phone, except a tiny. It's about the size of this. They basically just go down from here and put in a black spot that's not screen, but the screen still goes up around here.
I have no idea.
You think that looks weird?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Here, let me show you real quick. Is that gonna? The notch. Hey to everybody who's here. Too many steps to get anything done on the iPhone.
The iPhone or the Android?
Is that what you're saying? Basically, every phone now is going to start having the notch, though. So, here's the new iPhone. It's got a notch in the top, but it's got the sides of the thing still. Do you think it would be annoying to... I mean, if you watch a video in full screen, that much of it's cut out.
If the screen goes all the way up that far for a video, they might just black it out from there up.
Yeah, I mean, you get a choice, but if you have screen there, you don't want it to just be black, or else why do you even have the notch? Why not just fill in those parts, you know? They feel like it cuts out of the screen instead of adding to it. But the way I see it, it really adds to the screen, you know?
YouTube just told me that Zach is live.
Just now.
Yeah.
Thanks, YouTube. 37 minutes in, and you're letting people know that we are live. So if you're just now joining, welcome. We have talked about Albert Einstein, Ernest Hemingway,
Lazy
Susan, and Sloppy Joe. You can go back. This whole podcast is going to be available on audio sites really, really soon here, within the next 2 weeks. And then...
it's just a bunch of...
YouTube's going to be...
us talking about a bunch
safe.
of random things. Hence the name Bite Size, once again.
Bite Size Topics. We do this every 2 weeks. Are you back with videos? In 2 weeks, we have our 3rd episode of the Bite Size Podcast. I think that's July 18th. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Actually, that would be wrong. Anyway, 2 weeks.
12th.
The 12th. There we go. We got our 3rd episode of the Bite Size Podcast, and then the Monday after that, I start going every single day. We're going to be going 7 days a week, with every other Thursday being Bite Size Podcast. If I'm over here on a Tuesday or Thursday, there's going to be live streams at those points too, so he could be on it. And if he wants to be on other videos, you know, that's always...
But since he will be going into every day, I will be in a lot more videos because he's here a lot.
So, would you say that you would like your phone more if it did have extra screen? Instead of this part being on the top, would you like it more if you had 2 extra little pieces of screen on the sides?
I don't know. Nah.
Do you think that'd be weird?
I mean, I wouldn't like it less. I wouldn't like it more. I'd just deal with it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's something that people quickly learn to live with, and I really do think it just adds... There's a search up here, and that's about it. You know, the battery's right there, the time's right there. Right. You still get the important stuff up there, and I don't know. I think people blow the notch out of proportion. I know you don't follow tech as much, but it's it's really become like a big deal. A lot of people are really mad, and now every Android phone is getting every Android phone's getting notches now too.
That's a good one.
Here you go.
The notches his eyebrow. That's
Yeah.
That's a good.
If I had an iPhone or a phone with a notch, I would definitely get that wallpaper. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, I don't know, man. There's actually been a lawsuit for a really long time between Apple and Samsung because they say that Samsung stole a lot of the things they do with iPhones and made them to make the Samsung phones better. And it's been going on for...
Okay, but I don't see an iPhone Edge.
That's true, yeah. But the lawsuit finally ended after
Gorilla
several
Glass
years.
Samsung definitely did first.
They did it
They
first.
started
Wireless
doing Gorilla
charging
Glass
they did
with,
first.
The 4.
Not a Zack attack in my house. Window, I think I'll hit 1,000 subs. That depends. If going daily helps out a lot. Right now I'm at 250, I think. So it's taken me a year and 3 months to get here. So yeah, a couple more years at the slowest. If this helps out a lot, then
unless my Instagram blows up.
There you go. If his Instagram TV goes crazy, then hopefully it'll grow a lot more. How many subs do you have, DG? I'll have to check out your channel after this.
DG, do you do vlogs?
Yeah, what kind of videos do you make? $527 subs. All right, well, you're definitely beating me. So, you do tech.
Twice.
Cool. Well, hopefully you agree with some of the stuff that we've been saying. Hopefully we're not throwing you off by disagreeing with any of your opinions. I really like some of the Samsung phones. Like the Samsung Note 10 is going to be really, really awesome. And I might even get that over the iPhones. All the phones are starting to be pretty much the same. It just depends if you like Android or iOS.
James's mom says once James's mom is
You
on
mean
the
Kim?
show, it'll go crazy.
Kim says once James's mom is on the show, it will go crazy. Have you ever had your mom on your show, DG? Yay for James's mom, says Kim. Thanks, Kim.
James's mom.
Yeah. So we're glad you and DG and one other person who is probably Mickey are watching.
My girlfriend.
Yeah, she's able to say something. So, Mickey, if you're watching this,
yeah, leave a comment.
Shoot. Hopefully, we are not missing anything. No. No, what? I'm sorry.
No, he's never had his mom on his show.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
why not?
That's an idea for you.
Yeah, there you might hit 1,000 if you put your mom on.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna get big.
Yeah.
This podcast will blow up once his mom is on it. You bring your mom onto your show, you'll get 10,000, and then we'll have like
podcast.
Brunch with our moms and our YouTubes, and yeah, it'll be awesome. DG, put that on your calendar if you can mark me down on your Apple Calendar app. Then
with your iOS 12.
Yeah.
Send me.
But I do have iOS 12 too, so I can't be.
I'm gonna put that on the floor. That was really close to the microphone. So if you're listening to the podcast, I am so sorry.
If you're wearing headphones and listening to the podcast.
Ouch.
But I will say, DG, if you're a big iPhone fan, then you might appreciate that this is all being recorded to my MacBook, and being streamed live to YouTube on an iPhone running iOS 12.
Have anything to do with being an iPhone?
They're both Apple.
You said iPhone fan, not Apple fan.
Well, if you're an iPhone, if you have an iPhone and a MacBook and the Apple Watch and the headphones, then it all just kind of works together.
They make headphones?
Yeah. They make
not just earpods?
Well, they make the AirPods that are wireless earpods, and then they own Beats. So, I mean, anytime Beats makes money, it's Apple making money.
Sure.
So, you know, their headphone game's pretty big. iOS has been going downhill. Things are getting way too complicated. I agree. Some of the things with the new phone that doesn't have a home button are too complex. I kind of like having a home button. When you gotta like swipe one way or do weird swipe things, it gets a little annoying. And a lot of people have said when they switch back to an old phone, they try and still do those things, which isn't necessarily a good sign. Um, People would want to have their phones be consistent.
Mickey says she can't comment, so.
Oh.
She can hear us, but she cannot comment.
Why
she
not?
can see us. I'm not sure.
All right. Well.
We'll have to figure that out later.
All right. Okay, guys. Here I come. Is your mom coming in? He's got a typewriter. Will you get an iMac Pro? Shoot, man. Maybe once I get 1,000 subscribers, that's like $5,000. I get an iMac Pro. I wish that would be a really nice computer. That would make this podcast a lot easier. But I am going to be going to a really good music school, and if you should silence that, man.
Yeah. That's one thing about Samsung. I don't have a switch for my ringtone.
Is that a downside?
Yeah. I like that about the iPhone, where I can just switch the ringer off on the side, you know?
Yeah. I
Whereas
kind of don't
I
like
have
that.
to go all the way into
I'd almost rather just open it and go to the
turn it
settings.
down. So if you're watching, Mickey, stop messaging me. I asked her to bring me a pop.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Thank you. My mom doesn't want her
The face in the
to
door.
be in video.
Alright.
So.
Great podcast. Got to go. It's 12 a.m. where I am. Bye. Oh, DG, well, we definitely appreciate you checking it out while it's 12 a.m.
This
there.
time I didn't knock. Hi, guys!
That's Kim. James's mom.
How's it going, Kim? That's how the podcast blows up. You have your mom on it.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
So.
But DG, we really appreciate you commenting because you did give us a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Whereas I thought we were done at 25 minutes. We are now at 47, almost 48 minutes.
You don't have anything to talk about?
As of right now, no.
Alright.
Not until my vlog drops. Or my new album that I'm writing that has 10 songs already.
Did you want to talk about that? What's your
Just-
songwriting
just
process
writing.
like?
My songwriting process is usually me at 3 o'clock in the morning, like,
Just having lyrics come to you?
yeah, just thinking and like, man, I should write that down, and then it goes from there. I just freestyle.
Mostly
from
rap
there
kinda
in my
stuff?
head, yeah. I'm trying to
Kinda
go
depends.
acoustic a little, but other than that, working on that and working on getting some clips for my weekly vlog. Hopefully, it'll turn into something more than just every week. But other than that, nothing else I need to talk about. Is there anything you'd like to talk about?
Did you say you're going to be doing that on YouTube, or you're going to try Instagram TV?
I'm gonna try to pop off on Instagram TV, to be honest.
Yeah, I really think Instagram could be a good platform since, like, Liza Koshy and Jake Paul, Logan Paul, David Dobrik.
My favorite, Scotty Sire.
There you go. They all started on Vine, and then now they're some of the biggest YouTubers. So
Because of Vine.
right, Vine died, but that just made them the best YouTubers.
We were
So
up to
if
4
they're-
viewers. We lost
Oh,
DG.
we just lost two right there.
Aw.
So maybe that was DG and somebody else. Maybe he got back on. If he got on, hopefully he was on when we were saying thanks to him for watching, and if not, hopefully he comes back and finishes watching later, or goes back and watches about Albert Einstein, Ernest Hemingway, Sloppy Joe,
Yeah, because he
and
did
Lazy
come in
Susan.
kinda late. He
Yeah,
came in.
because I know some people are getting here kind of late, and the meat of what we wanted to talk about is all at the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah. And then it went to reading comments and
And-
replying to those.
More or less, I think that might kind of be how this podcast goes. There's definitely things that we're gonna specifically want to talk about, but then we want to be able to talk with you guys and see what you think about this show, see what you guys want to talk about, and add you to the conversation, because we love talking to each other. But once we get done talking to each other, it's cool to talk to you guys who are enjoying what we're doing here.
Definitely. And it gives us more content to put on the vlogs, to put on the podcast and live YouTube. So
exactly. So
thank you everyone who does watch live.
Exactly. We will try to read the comments out loud before we respond to them. I know some of them we're going a little too fast to be able to read them out loud as we were going. So if you're listening, hopefully you got everything. We're only going to be improving as we go.
If you're watching on YouTube, leave a like. If you're not subscribed, subscribe.
That's the only way we can get to 1,000.
If you're listening on the podcast, leave a like or a follow or just a view, I guess.
Yeah.
Depends on what platforms.
Right.
But if you're listening,
anywhere you listen to it, thank you.
Yeah, give us a like or a follow or.
Yeah, a review helps a lot too. A lot of times people will go to the reviews and see. We want to see James' mom. Everybody already did see James's mom.
You want to see James's mom? Hey, Mama! Can you come in here? YouTube wants to see you. She's not coming. I think we should end it now before she does come.
Oh, yeah. What? Well, thanks for watching, guys. I think we're going to end it here.
Would you like to shout out your Instagram before the end of the video so they can check out your Instagram?
I don't even know what it is. I think it's...
Let me look at it real quick.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm busy. Alright, well, YouTube's going to have to live without seeing Kim again. But yeah, hopefully there is some YouTube stuff. Listen next week to 2 weeks from now to the Bite Size Podcast, and we will. Yeah, it's Z Williams 01,
and mine is Garrett James 720. No spaces, no underscores.
Why 720?
No hyphens. 720. I have no idea. I just like that number. Anyways, at Garrett James 720, GarrettJames 720 on Instagram. Check me out. I will be dropping a weekly vlog.
Shameless. You gotta get that plug in there.
Gotta get that plug in my own video.
Definitely. But there's also going to be...
I will be making a Bite Size Podcast Instagram and a Bite Size Podcast Facebook for week 3. So it will be in the description next week.
Heck yeah. So make sure you stay tuned. We got awesome things coming with this podcast. Like I said, we're only getting better each time. We're going to come up with more and more topics. And hopefully you guys who enjoy watching will help us find things to discuss and add to the conversation like we were saying. And once again, hit subscribe, comment, like, leave a review if you're listening. If you want to, you can also go to Patreon, and if you donate, I believe it's $3 a month, you will get access to before and after content,
Extra content.
and or after
Behind
content.
the scenes content.
Yeah, exactly. So far it's just audio, but we may end up doing some video stuff too. We'll kind of just see how you guys are liking that, and if anyone's interested in more access to things like that. So, anyways, you got anything to say?
Goodbye.
42. That's the answer to it. 2 weeks from now, we'll be doing episode 3. Have a great day.